expansion was discussed both at a committee level and at the board, and ultimately the league office was tasked by our board with doing an in-depth.
Hello basketball fans, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we are diving deep into a fascinating story that every single Caitlyn Clark and WNBA follower needs to hear. Before we get into the details, if you are a die-hard Caitlyn Clark fan, drop a CC 100% in the comments section below. I want to see the real support in the crowd today. Now, let's get straight into the story without any delay. Something major is happening surrounding Caitlyn Clark, Adam Silver, and the league. After the latest move involving Clark and the New York Liberty, Silver has now addressed the situation and made his position clear. So, what exactly happened and why is Adam Silver's latest decision creating so much attention around the WNBA? Let's jump straight into today's video and break it all down. Professional basketball has suddenly changed in a way that no one anticipated. It all revolves around a single name that has been discussed for months by everyone. Behind the scenes, the most influential figure in the sport was planning a much more calculated move. While everyone else was preoccupied with statistics and shooting percentages, Adam Silver has officially taken over, and the ruling he recently made over Caitlyn Clark has literally rocked the league's front offices. The WNBA had a slow growth mentality and a set of restrictions for many years. However, that period came to an end when Silver made the decision to view the league as the main driver of the NBA's future rather than as a side project. This decision's reality extends beyond marketing and jersey sales. If you appreciate this content, consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel. Believe it or not, more than 73% of viewers haven't subscribed yet. It's free and only takes a second, but it means the world to us. So, did you subscribe already? Great. Thank you so much for your support. Now, back to the video. The game's governance has been fundamentally restructured, and not everyone is pleased with the new hierarchy. The abrupt change in priorities feels like a slap in the face to the veterans who have spent decades creating this league. However, from a business standpoint, the figures are accurate. Silver came to the conclusion that the Caitlyn Clark phenomenon was more than a passing fad. A substantial degree of protection was necessary because it was a billion-dollar potential. This was more than a suggestion or a mild prod to the leadership of the WNBA. This regulation alters how the game is advertised, officiated, and even transported. Silver made the decision to prioritize modern growth over traditional limitations, leaving the other participants to determine their place in this new global order. Everyone anticipated a learning curve when Clark first took the court as a professional. However, no one anticipated the degree of physical resistance that appeared to accompany her every step. The welcome to the league moments began to feel more like targeted encounters than standard competition, from mid-court shoulder bumps to blatant fouls that resembled football tackles. At this point, the league office had to make a decision that would shape the sport's future for the next decade. According to reports, Silver concluded that the let-them-play mindset was detrimental to business after witnessing the league's biggest star get knocked down game after game. Any veteran who attempted to play enforcer against the rookie sensation was effectively targeted by this decisive stance. Many players feel that the rules are being adjusted on the spot to protect one individual, which has caused a rift in the locker rooms. However, the ratings make it clear why this decision was made. Significantly more people watch Clark's games compared to regular contests. Additionally, the league cannot afford for an aggressive play to cause their primary draw to remain on the bench due to an injury. The game's flow has completely changed as a result of this protective stance. It is now faster, higher scoring, and more perimeter-focused. That's exactly the style of basketball Silver has been developing in the NBA for years. During the Olympic selection process, the tension reached a breaking point, a moment for which the league is still criticized by many fans. At first glance, it appeared to be a basketball decision that placed her behind more seasoned participants in the hierarchy. Industry insiders, however, have speculated a far more calculated reason for her exclusion. There were rumors that the league office, heavily influenced by NBA advisors, preferred for her to rest. Why would they want their brightest celebrity to be absent from the international arena? The solution is straightforward: complete control and fatigue management. The WNBA had unique access to her narrative and made sure she wouldn't burn out before the season's most lucrative stretch by keeping her in the United States. It was a calculated strategy that put the league's financial success ahead of the immediate development of an individual player's global legacy. The league was surprised by this choice since it demonstrated that Clark's natural evolution isn't the only thing decision-makers are monitoring. In order to benefit from the league's multi-billion-dollar media deal, they want to make the most of every second of her screen time. Fans felt disappointed as a result of the immediate backlash, but the business outcome was a rejuvenated, eager superstar who went back to the court and kept breaking viewership records. Speaking of that media deal, the size of the new $2.2 billion pact has drastically altered the NBA and WNBA's power dynamics. For many years, the WNBA was perceived as a league that frequently needed assistance in order to break even. However, Silver leveraged the rookie's impact as a main negotiating tool with Disney, NBC, and Amazon because of the Clark effect. The harsh aspect of this transition was that it shifted the internal leadership of the WNBA into a supporting position. Silver took the initiative, effectively informing everyone that the WNBA is now a crucial component of the NBA's international media plan. Higher production quality, more national TV games, and a departure from the league's previous niche sport vibe are all implied by this. The NBA's corporate structure is now directly overseeing the league. Even though the financial inflow is a blessing for the players' future earnings, these days, every technical foul, contentious tweet, and locker room argument is handled with high intensity, similar to a LeBron James or Steph Curry narrative. The league has grown into a larger entertainment brand. Silver has made it unequivocal that anyone who does not adopt the new professional standard risks being left behind in this high-stakes business asset. The abrupt requirement for charter flights throughout the league was one of the most noticeable developments of this new era. WNBA players had to deal with the difficult realities of commercial travel for years, including crowded seats, security lines, and delays. The league always cited expense as the justification. But Silver and the board abruptly changed course when security concerns regarding Clark's enormous crowd started making headlines daily. They essentially forced teams to upgrade their travel arrangements overnight by approving tens of millions of dollars for private charter flights. Although this was a major victory for player health and safety, smaller market clubs were severely impacted because they weren't fully prepared for such an increase in overhead expenses. Comfort was not the only consideration in this choice, it was a clear declaration of intent. Silver was announcing to the world that the WNBA is no longer treated as a secondary league. Even if it means investing funds ahead of projected revenue, the league must look the part if it wants to position itself as a leading global brand. Although this growth-oriented strategy is a signature approach, it represents a significant shift from traditional practices in women's sports. However, the rapid expansion plan that has been accelerated is the most discussed aspect of this new direction. Silver wants to expand the league substantially, not just maintain its current footprint. The league is growing at a rate that has raised questions about talent distribution, with new franchises coming to Portland, Toronto, and Golden State. The reality for current players is that roster dynamics will soon shift during expansion drafts, altering the competitive balance. The drive to capitalize on the Clark era while interest is at an all-time high is directly tied to this expansion. More jerseys to sell, more games, more markets, and more broadcast content are required. The realization that the slow and gradual expansion strategy was abandoned once Clark's jersey became one of the top-selling items in sports is what surprised the league. There is a sense of anticipation regarding what the next collective bargaining agreement will look like, as players find themselves in an environment where the business is evolving rapidly. The administration's handling of competitive storylines has also shifted the league's internal culture. While the WNBA historically emphasized collective unity, the current executive team recognizes that rivalries drive viewership. Capitalizing on matchups between Clark and other prominent rookies like Angel Reese represents a shift from traditional marketing strategies. The league is now highlighting these court rivalries to increase social media engagement and ticket sales. This shift has introduced new dynamics, as some players feel portrayed as antagonists in the broader narrative surrounding the league's newest star. However, the commercial results are clear. This focus on high-stakes competition is driving engagement levels that the league has rarely seen before. The Commissioner's office has sent a clear message as these recent decisions take effect. The WNBA is operating as a major commercial enterprise. Market demand and broadcast value are now driving key decisions in this high-stakes environment. In a short span, these executive interventions have accelerated the league's structural timeline by years. Despite the growing pains, the financial and media opportunities are significant. Every major decision involving Caitlyn Clark serves as a focal point for the sport's future trajectory. There is no turning back. Whether fans prefer the new direction or miss the previous era, the choices made today are establishing a league with expanding cultural influence. This shift gained momentum once Silver moved to protect and highlight the league's primary commercial assets. While players adapt and analysts discuss the changes, viewership remains at record levels, which continues to drive the business side of professional sports. These shifts will have long-term effects, especially as incoming talent views the WNBA as an increasingly lucrative professional path. The dynamic between established veterans and the new generation will continue to evolve. As the stakes rise, decision-making across the front office will remain focused on growth. With these strategic bets placed, everyone across the sport must navigate the evolving landscape. Whether the league can maintain its foundational identity while reaching these new commercial heights remains to be seen. One thing is certain, a fast-paced, high-drama, and profitable version of the sport is taking shape. Observers are watching to see how far leadership will go to ensure this momentum continues, as the developments reshaping the league today represent the beginning of a broader transformation in women's sports worldwide. Changes in officiating alone have sparked widespread discussion in locker rooms. Imagine adapting to stricter foul calls on perimeter players after years of playing a heavily physical style of defense. Clear guidance was provided to protect perimeter shooters, with Clark serving as a primary catalyst for this shift. However, it extends beyond a single player. League executives recognize that mainstream audiences favor fast transitions, spacing, and long-range shooting over low-scoring physical battles. By encouraging tighter whistle enforcement, leadership pushed the WNBA toward a more offensive-friendly style of play. Coaches who built their defensive strategies around physical play found this adjustment challenging, having to modify long-standing game plans in a matter of weeks. The quick implementation of these standards was as impactful as the changes themselves. Officials who adapted to the fluid, high-scoring pace were featured in high-profile broadcasts, while games were closely monitored for consistency. This created heightened awareness among defenders, who felt that any close contact on Clark drew immediate whistles. From a league perspective, however, this was a necessary evolution. Permitting continuous off-ball physical contact on a player capable of shooting from 40 feet limits highlight plays that drive viral engagement. Every time Clark executes a signature long-range shot, media engagement surges. The trade-off, however, is the frustration of defensive specialists who feel their traditional play style is being deprioritized. Internal discussions suggest that broadcast appeal was prioritized to maximize entertainment value. For traditionalists, the sport was always about earning every basket through tough defense, while new viewers tune in specifically for high-scoring entertainment. Executive leadership continues to ensure that the game remains as dynamic and polished as possible for broadcast networks. As a result, top defenders face a challenging dilemma. Hard contact on Clark doesn't just result in personal fouls, it frequently triggers extended media commentary. This psychological shift acts as a form of soft power, altering defensive approaches without requiring explicit rulebook overhauls. Establishing top stars as key broadcast assets is a model refined over decades in major leagues, where transitions that took years in other sports are happening within a single season in the WNBA. Teams are now forced to reevaluate their tactical scouting reports. Should they maintain a heavy physical defense, or focus entirely on outscoring opponents? Increasingly, teams are choosing the latter. Media partners specifically requested this shift toward higher-scoring games, aligning the product with modern broadcast preferences. This shift carries major financial implications. As overall revenues rise, salary caps and player compensation are expected to increase significantly in coming years. While current players navigate this uncomfortable transition in play style, the long-term financial trajectory of the league is growing rapidly. Veterans are being asked to adapt to this new era, and front office communication has established clear boundaries. Teams must either align with this growth-oriented vision or adapt to the changing landscape. The WNBA previously operated with a more localized, player-driven focus, making this top-down corporate management style a new experience. Strategic urgency has replaced traditional approaches, driven by the belief that the league must capitalize on its current window of opportunity. This explains why executive decisions surrounding Clark have been so impactful. They mark the transition of the WNBA from a growing domestic league into a major global sports media property. The effects of this transformation are being felt across the entire basketball world. International players increasingly view the WNBA as a primary destination to gain global exposure, while international leagues are adjusting their operational strategies in response. Clark herself carries immense expectations as the focal point of this commercial expansion, where her performances and interactions are analyzed under intense spotlight. Yet, league leadership remains committed to this strategic path, evaluating this era by its overall growth and audience expansion. Professional sports remain a business, and the WNBA is being managed with corporate precision for the first time in its history, yielding clear commercial results. A generation-defining player alongside a focused corporate strategy has repositioned the league's trajectory. The game is faster, the broadcast reach is wider, and the stakes are higher than ever before. As the league continues to evolve, key questions remain. How will future draft prospects be integrated into this high-profile framework? Will future stars receive similar promotional backing, or is this framework tailored specifically around Clark's arrival? Team dynamics and roster constructions will continue to adapt, with rival franchises monitoring every development closely. One thing is abundantly clear: the WNBA is setting the pace for modern sports growth. As the initial transition settles, these strategic shifts are becoming the new standard. The league took decisive action to secure its commercial future, permanently transforming the game in the process. And that's a wrap for today's video on WNBACORE. WNBA fans, these major moves surrounding Caitlyn Clark, Adam Silver, and league leadership are changing the sport in ways we've never seen before. What do you think about these big changes in officiating, broadcast focus, and league expansion? Do you think this new direction is good for the long-term future of the WNBA? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your perspective. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to WNBACORE, and turn on notifications so you never miss any major WNBA updates. Thanks for watching, stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next video on WNBACORE.